Joining me now, Thom Hartmann, host of the syndicated radio talk show, The Thom Hartmann Project, author of the numerous books, including The Last American President, A Broken Man, A Corrupt Party, and A World on the Brink. Thom, thank you for being with us. In a lot of ways, nothing I've just said is new. It's all kind of out there. It's all really outrageous. You note that authoritarians throughout history have always exploited the power of spectacle. When you look at the ballroom, the arch, the reflecting pool, they may just be vanity projects that are easy to dismiss, but you think it's a symbol of something more sinister.
Thank you, Ali. What's really destructive about this is how corrosive it is to public trust. You can't have a functioning democratic republic without public trust, without the public believing that the government is actually on their side. We've seen during times of crisis in America throughout our history, the American Revolution, the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln putting together the U.S. Sanitary Commission, where people actually helped out Union soldiers and brought in, volunteered, brought in things. World War II, you mentioned all the things associated, and I would add a 90% top income tax rate during World War II on individuals, 50% on corporations. There was always a sense that, yes, number one, there's something really important going on here, defending democracy, for example, or keeping the union together. Trump is not telling us that there's anything important going on here other than his own aggrandizement. And then secondly, I think perhaps most importantly, that the elites are sharing in the pain, in the difficulty. Jack Kennedy's older brother died in World War II. Jack himself almost died, President Kennedy. There was shared sacrifice, and there was a sense of we're all in this together. And now you've got half the country literally looking at homelessness if they get hit with a $1,000 unexpected expense. Tens of millions not even, having health insurance, and many more having inadequate health insurance. This crisis that has crippled us after 45 years of Reaganomics took us from 2/3 of us being in the middle class with a single paycheck to now about 43% of us requiring two paychecks to get in the middle class. This is a crisis. But it's not being acknowledged by Trump. It's not being acknowledged by the Republican Party. It's not being acknowledged by this government. And instead, the elites are just rolling in money. They're, a new yacht for Mark Zuckerberg. It's a tough time for America.
I'm back with Thom Hartmann. Thom, I was talking to Justin Wolfers, the economist, earlier this week, and he was saying there are really valid times when the government should ask people to tighten their belt. But if they do so, this should be spread equally between the rich, the poor, or maybe it should be heavier on the rich and corporations and less on those who can give less. But if the goal is defeating the Nazis or keeping the country together and defeating slavery, that's one thing. We're nowhere close. This is a wildly unpopular war that we're in. It's a wildly unpopular trade war. And Americans are asking to foot the bill while watching this nonsense about a reflecting pool and a ballroom and all of these things that the administration is saying. They're not even trying to suggest that austerity is something that we should be sharing.
Yeah, at a time when we have a $39 trillion deficit, virtually 100% of which can be attributable to the Reagan, Bush, Trump tax cuts and the two wars that Bush and Cheney lied us into. There is a crisis in America right now. It's a very real crisis that's been caused by the 45 years of neoliberalism and Reaganomics and this radical drop in taxes at the very top. You've got a crisis in Social Security right now. The program, if we simply said, hey, millionaires and billionaires have to pay the same into Social Security as average people, it would be solvent for the next 70 years and everybody could get a $2,000 a year raise. But no, we can't have that. And so now, Trump is talking about having these new Trump accounts replace Social Security. This was just, revealed last week by one of his cabinet members. You've got Medicare is more than half privatized now with these phony Medicare Advantage plans that are just private insurance. Step after step after step, the government, the big government that Franklin Roosevelt created in the 1930s, when only about 20% of us were in the middle class, that brought 2/3 of us into the middle class between then and 1981 when Reagan came into office, the grand project of the Republican Party ever since then has been to deconstruct that. And they've been effectively doing that. And in the process, they've gutted the middle class. They're creating this crisis. And there's no sign that the elite are paying for any of this or are helping in any way, but rather that the elite are just profiting off it, that it's just it's good times for billionaires.
It'd be one thing if we were paying, they weren't, and we could just encourage them to also pay. But it's actually something else. We're paying, and they're actually making money. So Americans are getting poorer, while the wealthy and corporations are getting richer off of this administration's behavior. Tom, thank you. Thom Hartmann is the host of the syndicated radio talk show, The Thom Hartmann Program.